Cari amici sportivi, welcome to another The Local Soccer Show with your host, Stevie P. Guys, this one is a special one. It's live. I'm here with Frank Lipari. And guys, we're here live at Soccer IQ, guys, a fantastic establishment here in Laval, which we're going to talk to you about in no time at all. But guys, we have Presidente, Master Control in the back. Stevie P, I'm here with the scarf. It's very, very, very warm, so I'm going to take it off. Frank is here. He's coughing. He's nervous, but it's okay. We're going to make through it. So, Marcello, roll it. Guys, Frank is here magically again, and we're going to invite him officially to the show. Frank, how are you?
Good. And you, how's it going?
Very good, Frank. Very good. Guys, this is a special one for me. I know Frank a long time. He's a fellow Milanista. This is a fantastic business venture that he is on with his partners. But Frank, the local soccer show would not be possible without the lovely people and the fantastic team at Evangelista Sports. Guys, they also sponsor SocceriQ. So this is a fantastic opportunity for both of us to thank Evangelista Sports for all you guys do for soccer in the community. Guys, check them out on Boulevard Saint Laurent. Like I always say, go on a weekend, enjoy it, have a nice coffee, go buy some shoes, go buy some cleats, go buy some shin pads, jerseys. They have it all. Serie A, La Liga, the PSG for the PSG lovers, who I hope they get kicked out of the Champions League, and many more, guys. So thank you to the fantastic team at Evangelista Sport. Frank, for everybody that doesn't know Frank, let's talk to me about your soccer journey. Like you're very involved in local soccer. So tell us about Frank Lipari.
Well, I started playing at a very young age in RDP, in the football club where we both played at very young. I was always a goalie. I always wanted to be a goalie. So I played there very young. I played until, I played senior level as well, at the highest level. At the time, it was AAA and semi-pro. Then I went on to kind of switching gears towards coaching. I have very young kids. So I started coaching originally. My first coaching gig was with Champlain College. I did Champlain College goalie coaching with Mauro and Mike, who you know well. And then I got into coaching the youth after my daughter started playing soccer. I started getting into the coaching, getting my licensing, and now I'm really focused fully on coaching. I still play a little bit here and there, but mostly coaching.
Okay, so before we jump into the Soccer IQ, I want to expand on that because it is the local soccer show. So you coached at the university, college level with Champlain, and now you did youth soccer. Talk to us a little bit about the difference between those two beasts, the two different animals, right? So
at the college level, they're again more refined, but at a level that's very high level. So it's we're getting here locally. Our goal was to get these college kids placed somewhere in a big division in the U.S. or get some scholarships out in Canada. So it was very high level. Then when I went, kind of more down to the grassroots level with the younger kids, it was, more development. And that's where my focus is now, especially with SocceriQ. So it's more at the developmental stage.
Yeah. And as a parent coach myself, how do you feel now coaching your kids?
It's fun, but it's not easy. It's not easy when you're coaching your own kid. I know my daughter and I have had a few arguments here and there after the games or after practices, especially practices. I want her to learn that it's hard work. You should practice always with a purpose. That's what I tell her. You don't come to practice just to go through the motions, right? There's got to be a purpose to it, so that you get better, and it shows after in the games or on the field. So. We had quite a few arguments every once in a while.
I'm there too, Frank. I'm there too.
My wife always tells us to calm down, both of us always fighting, but now we're at a nice level. She's playing well. She's a goalie as well, so she followed in my footsteps. So it's fun. And that's it. The youngest one doesn't want to know nothing about soccer. She played here and there, whether she wants to do karate, she doesn't want to do soccer. Maybe she saw the fights between me and my oldest, and she doesn't want to get involved now.
Yeah, and that's okay, right? And people from that listen to the local soccer show, they know about Franco, who plays, and he loves to play soccer. He spent a week here at SocceriQ thanks to Frank and his camp. Uh, but I have another one who doesn't want to know anything. Everything pink, and not that there's anything wrong with pink. You can wear pink in soccer. She's just not an athlete. Doesn't love it, but attached herself to figure skating, surprisingly, which no one in my family could skate, and everybody who knows my size obviously understands that I cannot skate. But back to the important stuff. As two parents who coach in this local soccer scene, I like to call it, what do you find different between the difference between when we grow up and the coaching style that we went through, and now the coaching style that we have to adapt to for this generation?
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, back in the days, I always say, the people who are kind of against this new method, the CDC style, I say there's a lot of positives. Excuse me. There's a lot of positives towards the new style. I mean, there's a lot more development now.
Yeah.
Back in the days, if you were lucky enough to make a high-level team, you kind of stuck with that team, and nobody was able to kind of penetrate that team, right? So now it's a little bit different. There's more opportunities for everyone to join soccer and have the same coaching. Back in the days, depending on which coach you got.
Yeah.
You could have a horrible coach and you didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to make it that the coaching is all at the same level. It's tough. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like the CDC style. But there is some positives towards it. I guess for me, it's the coaching. At least it's a high level coaching.
Yeah. And that's a good point, right? So we grew up in an era where there was a lot of parent volunteer coaches, which still exist now. Some more than others, knew the game. Some did not know the game. So, like Frank said, it was the luck of the draw. So we talk a lot about the CDC here on the local soccer show. And again, there's with the different guests, and Frank included, there's some positives, there's some negatives. What I like to speak about is where do we find that happy medium, right? So we spoke about, CDC being a lot individual and, bucketing by talent and so on and so forth. But you think the CDC, unfortunately, is missing a little bit of the tactical about what are we doing with these kids once we actually put them and place them on the field? What do you think about that?
Oh, for sure. That's what's missing, right? So that's something that I push also my club to try to go towards, and having these team practices so I can practice the tactical. I guess the method that they want to go by, Soccer Quebec or Soccer Canada, is really the individuals up until a certain age, and then it gets to the tactics after 13. But I disagree with it. To be fully only individual until 13 years old.
Frank, make me disagree. You cannot disagree. We need Soccer Quebec on your side.
Okay.
All jokes aside, I agree with Frank there, and it is a conversation that we have with multiple guests and all the guests, because it's interesting to everybody to get everybody's point of view, right? So, another question that I had for you is, the difference between the girls' game and the boys' game. What could you tell people that are getting into it with young girls, in regards to is it a different animal? Are they completely different in terms of generation and gender, or it's similar up until a certain age?
The gap is closing. I think the gap is closing. I always say that I would never coach boys because girls listen much better.
I agree with you 100%.
I had camp here a few weeks, and I said, I'll turn it to an all-girls camp anytime.
Yeah.
The girls are super quiet. They're attentive. They listen. The boys are a little bit all over the place at this age, but the gap is closing. I think there's still the gap for sure there, but the gap is not what it used to be. If you look back in our days, do you remember any girls playing or any leagues? There's nothing, right? So some of the girls on our team, again, we see them playing against boys their own age, and they keep up.
Yeah.
So the gap is definitely closing. It is a different beast. At this age, it's still, again, they're still young. I coach 10 years old, right? Yeah. So it's still, as I get a bit to the teenage years, I'll see how that's going to be. Yeah.
So that's an interesting segue to another question I had, which is, girls, they will develop, and again, they're much more mature than boys. We see it. We'll compare two 10-year-olds. I could obviously see your daughter much more mature than my son. But at a certain point, the girl is going to develop, and, it's going to peak at a certain point. What's your thought process of starting to mix them at a certain age? Mix boys and girls of the same age to play competitive sport?
I don't know. I think there's something there. I think there's some girls that could definitely keep up, but I think the physicality we see it kind of here at camp. We kind of sometimes mix it up with girls that are high level with the boys, and they could keep up. But they're very few, right? This the physical level is tough. Well, here, especially at SocceriQ, it's 3v3, so it's a small contained field, so it can get pretty physical. In an open space on a bigger field, I could see maybe being a little bit easier, but the it's not at the same level physically for sure. Mixing, I think it's actually better at a younger age, and then as they get older, it's kind of almost better to separate them.
We spoke about soccer IQ being 3v3. When they started, the kids, we were at 7v7. Now we're moving on to 9v9 and eventually 11v11. Do you think it's too much of a slow transition between the actual V's, I like to call them? Three, we don't when they're little and they're 4, we kind of try to keep them on a smaller field, and then once we hit 7, is there really the need for the 9v9? That's basically my question. Or should we think about maybe skipping the 9v9 into an 11v11, but on a smaller field?
I think it's a nice transition, but I feel like we're not prepared for it. Like there's no fields ready for it. The fields are all mishmash. There's no lines. There's no boxes. The nets are sometimes small, sometimes big nets. Sometimes we have 11 aside nets, sometimes 7 aside nets. So if it was, more prepared, I guess I do like it.
Yeah.
I kind of like the transition in between because it kind of helps you adding 2 players at a time, getting to 11v11. So now I'm just starting 9v9 with my girls. I like it. It's a bit more tactical, so it's a bit more fun for coaches. 7v7 game is a bit easier to coach. Now we're kind of teaching them how to pass the ball around and keep possession, which is fun. And I'm sure 11 aside is going to be fun.
So the 9v9 game, from what I've seen so far, those who are dominant at 7v7 get a real reality shot at 9v9. And why I say that is because, especially with my boys, I see the ones who are more talented, who would be able to beat 1 or 2 guys, you're ending up almost in the net at that point. Now you're beating 1 or 2 guys or 1 or 2 girls, and you're nowhere close to the net. And you have so much space. How do clubs, and you had your RDP career and now As Laval, how would you what sort of coaching can we do to these girls and boys to prepare them for 9v9, because it is a shock?
Yeah, for sure. I get, but that's where we see the CDC doesn't help. It's that it's 7v7. You could be an individual player and dominate a game. So you could win a game with 1 player in 7v7. Then it's happened to times where my girls have 1 very dominant player and the rest of the team was not at their level that day, and she just dominated the game by herself. In 9v9, you can't. You have to play more as a team. So that's where passing the ball around, keeping possession, circulating, passing it back, getting the goalie involved. That's where we got to teach them, right? So 7v7, it's a totally different game. Like I said, one person could take the ball, could run half the field.
Coast to coast doesn't exist anymore, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Coast to coast doesn't exist. Last question before we move on to the meat and potatoes of the show, which is SocceriQ, is your own coach's practice, right? So in CDC, right, there's a technician and he's going to go through the different ateliers or stations, however you like to call them. Do you think there should be more time given to the parent volunteer coaches, especially like yourself, who's, you have your licenses, you have your credentials to be able to run your own practice? Should clubs start looking to give you guys more time?
Yeah, and I mean, look, to be honest, As Laval does a great job at it. They give me the time to have the team once a week. I had it this summer too as well, and it helps a lot. You see the difference. Yes, I agree. I think we should, kind of starting at this age, have that team practice, especially that it's not 7v7 anymore, because that's, again, more individualist, I feel. The clubs should kind of focus on that a little more, having at least once a week a team practice where you can focus on positioning, tactics, circulating the ball, like I said. So I do that every Friday night with the girls, and it's very new now. We started this winter 9v9. And it's a lot of possession game, right? I'm teaching them to not force the ball forward, playing it back and starting all over, switching sides, which is all new to them. They're confused because usually they were used to going one way, and
north and south.
Exactly. Yeah.
let's get to the meat and potatoes. We have Marcello and Master Control in the background, and Frank. I want to say it live because I said it to your face. I tip my hat to you and your partners for this adventure because it's a fantastic idea. Soccer IQ, guys, is something spectacular, guys. It's really, condensed, like Frank said, 3v3. You can work a lot on your footwork, a lot on your individualistic training. You're not going to be switching sides here because you can step to the second side. But talk to us a little bit, Frank, about how this idea came about because, people need to know and we need to celebrate people like you and your partners because we need more.
So to be honest with you, I was at a local in February, doing an individual training with my daughter, and I looked at the local and I was like, I can't believe this is a training facility for our kids. It was not to name the local, nothing against them, but it was very basic, very small. They put some Home Depot grass on the floor,
Yeah.
and they ran trainings there. And I went home that night and I told my wife, Christine, I said, be ready. Before the end of the year, I'm opening up a business. And she rolled her eyes. Yeah, sure. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I'm going to open up a soccer business before the end of the year. I feel like our kids don't have a place like they do in hockey to do some training
Yeah.
at a smaller scale. And our private trainers that we do have, we know a few of them ourselves, don't have a space to do it. They were stuck renting 7-a-side fields, which are very expensive in the
Yeah.
winter, or finding these small little locals, or doing them in warehouses, which didn't make sense.
Yeah, just not ideal.
So our goal was to kind of open up a place that like I said, a lot of hockey places have this where you do power skating,
Yeah.
shooting. So it's based on small technical training, touching the ball a lot, which I believe is important at the ages between 7 and 13 years old. So the 3v3 and the technology we brought in from Europe kind of makes you touch the ball often, right? So we kind of started doing a bit of research on what we wanted our center to look like. I wanted to have some mini fields for some 3v3 training, for some private trainers to run practices. And we wanted to have the opportunity for some kids who don't go to private training or don't do in group sessions to do some individual training at their own pace. Everybody's got a different pace. So we wanted to bring in something that they can do individual training. So this is where we found this equipment from Europe, from the UK, called Elite Skills Arena. So all the machines that we have here in place are, light activated technology, working on vision, reaction, a lot of touches, and you could speed it up or slow it down depending on the kind of player you are or where you're at. So each machine has 25 to 30 different games. Could go to very, very basic. We do birthday parties here, so it's very basic games for kids who don't play soccer.
Yeah.
And you got some professionals that practice here. I've had one of our employees that works here. He played in Serie C last year, and now he's looking for a contract here in MLS. He practices here often, and it's a high level. And you see when he practices, it's and he doesn't stop. Like, he's here for 2 hours, and he's using the machines nonstop. So there's high level games in there. It's touching the ball often, and it's something that we wanted to bring in on board. So I got together with a few partners who kind of are all soccer guys, but are all businessmen too. Because a lot of the times we see some of these types of places opening up and closing down a year later because it's not run properly or there's no value for the client.
Yeah, the idea is fantastic, but the foundation and the business aspect of it is missed.
Exactly. So I partnered up with a few guys that bring in something different to the business. I bring in the marketing. I have another person who's in marketing too, some finance background. But all soccer guys.
Yeah.
All soccer guys that we grew up together and played together all our lives. So it's been a nice couple of months. A lot of hard work, but it's been a fun couple of months.
So obviously, everybody, the marketing is Frank's department because of the obvious color choice for SocceriQ, which is red and black.
I told my partners, I said we'll decide everything as a group, but the colors are black and red.
That's fantastic. Great. So we're seeing on the screen, Frank, some pictures there, and I had the opportunity to welcome me to the opener of SocceriQ. You invited me as an influencer, which was honestly very humbling. We see the 3v3 fields. We see if we can go through the actual machinery to explain. So you see the circular format passing drill that we have. What's that concentrating on? Like, what are we looking at when we're doing this type of exercise?
So each machine has a different concentration. So the circular one and the cube one is more for a central midfielder, kind of to work on reaction and vision and a lot of touches of the ball. So, one of my favorite games on this one is called the Pathfinder Plus. which, again, you could set up the time how you want it, but the light is activated and it's only on for 2 seconds. So you have a decision to make if you can hit that pass within that 2 second window, or you wait for the next light to turn on. So you don't force a pass, because if you force it after the light turns off, you lose a point.
Okay.
If you don't make a pass, you don't lose anything. It means you kept possession. So it's kind of simulating in a game where you have an opportunity to make a pass and the defender's coming, and are you going to force that pass or wait for your next opportunity? Which, again, it's, for me,
hold and go, hold or go.
It's decision making, it's reactivity, it's accuracy, but you're touching the ball often in that minute or minute and a half that you're using the machine.
Again, Frank didn't let me play with the games yet, because he decided that he was not going to make me play with the games, sir. But I was able to visualize and I was able to see everybody play with them. What I noticed also about the circular machine and the square machine is it's a lot of scanning.
Yes,
it's great for scanning in terms of especially for the young ones who don't understand that you need to scan constantly in the game. And we keep on seeing the TikTok videos and the Twitter the Twitter tweets, or X, whatever you want to call it, and Instagram reels where Messi or Busquets or Pirlo constantly scanning like 6, 7, 8 times, right? So that's great for scanning. The semicircle one, which is for vision.
Yeah, the semicircle one's kind of more for, I want to say, goalies or center backs or defense, kind of always looking forward one way. So again, it's still a lot of reactivity, vision, but it's kind of good for the role of a center back or a goalie. So each machine kind of has, its position. So the semicircle is that, and then you see the wall on the right, which is for shooting.
Hold on, before we go to the wall on the right, there's the wall in the back.
Yeah,
after
the wall, so the wall on the back, that's a goalie one. So that's light activated, lights that go from left to right or up and down, and it's good for it's made for goalies. It's called the shot stopper, but really players use it too. And you could kind of decide how many levels of lights you want. So there's 5 levels of lights. If you use just the 2 bottom ones, you could do it with your feet.
Okay.
So you kind of shuffle side to side and put your foot in front of the sensor, and you're always moving. It's good for cardio. Definitely a lot of cardio there, but it's good for reactivity. Also, again, vision.
And again, my personal favorite, in which he does not let me play with yet, because he knows that I have a heavy shot, is the shot wall, Frank. So talk to us about the shot wall. It's the centerpiece for a reason, right?
For sure, it's the centerpiece. Everybody wants to do the wall for sure. It's accuracy shooting. It's shooting. It's for me. It's the centerpiece, but it's my least favorite machine tactically for kids to use, right? Because they don't use it properly.
No.
They just want to blast the ball,
Yeah.
right? The ball's coming back and it's bouncing and they're just ripping it. They're not even aiming or whatever. If it's used properly, again, it's very good for accuracy and for shooting, timing as well. Because there's some games on there where, again, the light is only on for a few seconds, or you got to hit certain targets, which is great. But
and this one, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, we can play the crossbar challenge with this.
Yes.
I want to show some video. We have some video tonight, guys, because I was able to see and to be witness to this fantastic challenge that some guys were having. They were having the battle of the fittest, I call it, where no one is fit. So we had some guys get together, and it was great, guys, because these were friends that got together and they said, you know what, we're gonna settle it tonight. We're gonna see who's the best. And this is another important thing that we have to mention with SocceriQ, right? So some people will say we've gamified the soccer training, and I would say yes, I agree, but in a good way, because you can track your stats.
Yes.
So talk to everybody who wants to, come to SocceriQ, and how does that stat tracking software or system work for you guys?
So the great thing about ESA, actually, I just wanted to mention also there is another machine that's not in the pictures there because we installed it recently. It's a sprint lane.
Okay.
So to track your speed with or without the ball, and we could kind of do slaloms also with that. So that's the 6th machine that we have from ESA. So the great thing about it and why we really like this product is really the software that's available on it. So every time you come and once you sign up kind of a monthly program with us, we give you guys a bracelet, and every time you use the machine, you scan your bracelet, and it tracks all your statistics, completed passes, time, and it kind of gives you a player index. Everybody
Nice.
likes that player index card. So it does that for you, and you see the progression or regression based on time. So I've started doing some training programs with some young kids, and so now we're at the stage where now it's in the first month we're here. So now the first month we're reviewing the stats and we're changing the games based on their statistics. So if I see something is too easy for them or their accuracy is way too much, I'll make it a little bit faster for them. They should be, maybe it's a bit too easy, right? So I could follow the stats, change the game. Like I said, there's a lot of games and they're always updated as well. But you can change the timing so it can make it a bit quicker or a bit slower if you need be.
Yeah. Before we go to the vision board, I just want to really, really shout out Carlos Sardelli because he really selected fantastic attire for his challenge of the fittest here. Right, Frank?
Yeah, for sure.
Like a pure Milanista dressed like as if he just came back from the gym. Thank you, Carlos Sardelli. Guys, check him out if you need a mortgage. He's a fantastic mortgage broker. Talk to us the vision board and how you attract the stats with the vision board, Frank.
So the statistics again, you're following every game that has on there. It comes with an app, so the ESA Data Hub. You download the app, and everyone has access to it, right? So if you're a member of SocceriQ, we give you access to the app that tracks all your stats. You can also see the leaderboard, who's in the leader, so the kids like that too as well to see that they're at the top of the leaderboard across the world or even within the center, right? So you can see kind of different levels.
Yeah.
This month, this week, or all time. But really, again, it's all the data and everything that you see on there helps you kind of adjust the games for you to be, again, a better player.
Yeah.
You're touching the ball often. Like you see, like every one of these games, you're playing 30 seconds to a minute, and at the end of it, you're tired.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cardio, but what's great is you're touching the ball hundreds of times.
And that night we had the shout out to the assistant there. Franco was resetting your machines. He can work.
I always use the example of my daughter Gabriella. So she's she's a goalie. She doesn't have the greatest feet. She knows that. And while we were setting up SocceriQ, the machines were up, and she would play hours and hours. I've bought, I think, coaching equipment. I have galore at home.
Yeah.
Like I have had everything. I have a rebounder. I have the skills ball, which you attach around your waist.
Yeah.
I had the dribble up, which is on the iPod. It lasts a week, and there's nothing. Here, instead, she goes every time. She plays a game for her.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you're gamifying it. She's playing a game, and she wants to beat her record, but she's touching the ball hundreds of times a minute, which is great. And her touch has changed so much in the last month and a half.
Yeah.
It's surreal. But for her, it doesn't feel like it's practice. It feels like it's a game.
Yeah, and again, so it wasn't planned this way. It's just because of Quebec. For everybody not in the province, we have a little teacher strike, and Frank, you set up a fantastic idea of a camp, and I was fortunate enough to send Franco here for the week. Not only did he have a fantastic time, and I'm not saying that just because you're on the show, I'm saying because he would come home and he would have a smile on his face, and from day one where he didn't know anybody to day 4 where he made some new friends and new friends came. And what's amazing is that they're starting to learn very hyper competitive boys, right?
Yes.
So they're competitive against everything. But now they're starting to understand almost a little bit of the golfing mentality with this. So they know that they're up against themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the score that they want to beat is their own, not their friends. In reality, they have almost 2 things that they want to go. Talk to everybody about SocceriQ for the non-soccer person who wants to do a birthday here. How can they get in touch with you? And, what do you offer for them? Because you have a fantastic cafe as well.
So, apart from the soccer training, we have 3 fields to the 3v3. So if you just want to come and hang out with some friends or play some soccer 3v3, it's always accessible for everyone. That's another thing, too, that we thought of is that sometimes you want to get some friends get together and play 7v7, you need 15, 16, or 20 guys. Always not that easy as you get older to get 20 guys together. To play 3v3 is simple. You can get 6 guys or 10 guys and have a few subs, and it's pretty fun. Apart from that, we offer birthday packages. Again, we have a little party. We have party rooms under our mezzanine, and we do everything we do is again towards. We have basically it's a 3-hour package. You have an animator that follows you. You do a bit of the games on the machines here, like the shooting or the icon, the circle one. You do an hour of that and competitions between the birthday party, and then 1 hour of on-field play, and then you have an hour the usage of the room for birthday cake,
Absolutely.
gifts, and food, and so on and so forth. Apart from that, we also do some corporate events. We did our first corporate event a few weeks ago, team building
Congratulations.
event.
Yeah.
Office came here and did some. It was fun to see all non-soccer guys
Amazing.
trying to play or trying to sprint down that lane
Yeah.
and not pulling a hamstring. So we have that as well. We have a little cafe with some snacks and some goodies for anybody who wants to come and enjoy. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amazing. Frank, there's also the back room, we say. So right now, Franco's in that back room. He's with Amy and Adam. He does some specialized training with him. Thank you, Amy and Adam. Shout out to you guys. And taking care of my son while I be able to speak with Frank here live at SocceriQ. But talk to us about the back room and how that idea came about.
So really, again, it was trainers requesting space. I was fortunate enough to have As Laval rent fields from us for their CDC2 program here throughout the winter, and then trainers were asking for some more field space. So we kind of created another space in the back room, which we were originally using for storage, as a garage area, and we wanted to kind of have another space for trainers to come and work out with bigger nets, so for shooting. So we have some shooting in that area too. And we also named it after a good friend of ours, Jason. So we called it La Grinta Center.
Yeah.
So that's where the training is. All the individual trainers, private trainers, and small groups all train in that section. I also do my goalie training there as well.
Amazing. And you also have that fantastic machine that whips balls at you. So
yes, the ball launcher.
The ball launcher is fantastic, guys. And also, if Frank's going to rent it out to me, I want to see if it could go through a window. Let's talk about that. So As Laval does a fantastic job. You've heard me talk about it multiple times. They're here at SocceriQ. They're taking up the field time. How do you see and how did they pitch to you, or how did you pitch to them your SocceriQ and how they can use your facility?
Well, really, I pitched it to them. Working with As Laval, I pitched to them kind of changing it up a bit in the winter from using the gyms, the school gyms, which was, again, okay. But some of the gyms are very small, or they don't have the proper amount of space to hold, 14, 15 kids. So really it was to switch the high performance groups, especially to train on turf and 3v3, tight spaces to work on tactics. I also spoke to them about the machinery they were having, and they're kind of warming up to the idea of that as well, of using that in the future as well for tactical training. But I was fortunate enough that they came on board with us before we opened, and they're here with us all winter during their training here.
Fantastic. If Marcia, if we could bring up the SocceriQ, the address and how they can get in touch with Frank, that would be fantastic. So again, great facility, fantastic. But now we have to get into the meat and potatoes of the things. So the rapid fire questions. We're 30 minutes in, Frank. I know you're very busy. I know my son's going to finish. He's going to wonder where his father is, but we'll take care of that after. Let's talk to people about, okay, we're going to say it. Frank, your favorite team is obviously?
Milan.
Okay. So if I ask you your favorite player then and now?
Well, then it's clear it's Maldini. Maldini is, I have a tattoo, number 3 on my back. It's for Maldini. And now it's Theo. I've always got a soft spot for goalies.
Yeah, shout out to Kenny Gabriel.
Oh, hey, Kenny, how's it going? For goalies and defensemen. I'm a defensive guy. So for now, it's Theo and Manya. And obviously, Magic Mike is up there too.
The team that you dislike the most?
Inter, obviously.
Inter. Very good. If now you're in the coaching realm, if you say you look up to someone and what he's doing nowadays that you want to not imitate, but pieces of coaching styles that you would pick from, who would you pick from?
It's always, you're always looking at the Klopps and the Peps of the world, obviously, that bring in something different to the game. I like Unai Emery too. He does done a fantastic job, always with Sevilla and now in England as well. But Ancelotti's been always my favorite ever since he was with Milan, and I follow him with Real Madrid too, because he's really I find he's a player's coach, and I think it's important not to have. I like Conte, he's good, but I feel like it's about him. It's all about him. Or Allegri, it's all about him. It's not about the players, right? So Those types of coaches I don't like. I like to be a player's coach. I like to get along with the team and work together rather than having to be like authoritarian only.
Absolutely. My last question, which is the most important question before I praise your facility again and we sign off. Frank, you come home from a very long day at SocceriQ. You or your wife, because I got in trouble for this already when I said someone's wife, is making dinner and you guys are having pasta. And it's going to be penne. Is it penne liscia or penne rigate?
Rigate, always rigate.
Fantastic, Frank! Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Again, I want to thank Frank for welcoming me into his fabulous establishment and letting me talk to him and spread the word of SocceriQ. Guys, we'll do our best, as we always do at Milan Weekly Podcast, to obviously support a fellow Milanese, but someone who's doing a fantastic thing for local soccer. Guys, come and check him out. It's fantastic. It's amazing for all, like you said, non-soccer and soccer lovers. It's really something that you have to see with your own eyes. It's, we tried with the video, we tried with the pictures. You have to come here and see it. It's fantastic. Your kids, yourself, you're going to have so much fun. So I want to thank you, Frank, and all your partners. You can name them if you want. You can leave them out if you want. Mark Arish is going to be pissed. But guys, I want to thank you again and congratulations. And Frank, please tell everybody how they could follow you, your social media handles, whatever you want to. This is your time to shine.
So I want to say thank you to my partners. It's been a tough couple of months, a lot of work, and thanks to the wives too that supported us.
Absolutely.
And we're kind of stay at home
the
single
kids,
wives
and the kids.
and the kids too that didn't see us. Yeah, it's but yeah, partners Mark Arish, Nassim El Fadil. Luca Ragusa, Nicola Ragusa, two brothers, and Mark's brother Gabriel, who supports us from afar in Florida. So it's been a wild ride. It's been fun. If you guys are interested in coming check out the center, you could just come by anytime. We're 4980 de la Rancide in Laval, in the heart of Auteuil. You can check us out on www.socceriq.ca. And if you need anything at all, you can always ask for me. I'm always available for me. It's very important to be always providing best customer service. I'm a marketing guy at heart, but customer service is very important. So I'm always answering the phones, always answering the emails, making sure every single call and email is being answered. So if you need anything at all, don't hesitate. I'm always around.
Customer service, just like CSRDP. Fantastic.
The new CSRDP.
The newest CSRDP. Yes. Guys, I want to thank you again. I'm Stevie P. Guys, remember, it's important, guys. Subscribe to the channel, Milan Weekly Podcast. You'll get great shows like Milan Weekly Podcast, where you'll see me and Vinny on Monday nights. You'll see Claudio. You'll see Fabio and Gio on Coast to Coast on Wednesday. And every 2 weeks, guys, we try to bring you the local soccer show where we could have other fantastic guests like Frank, who are doing so much for local soccer, and get them out there and get them seen because they need to be celebrated. There's not a lot of people like Frank out there and his partners who are doing great stuff. Obviously, guys, this is a career for them. Financially for them, they're doing successfully well, but also for the community. So I want to say thank you. Guys, we cannot forget to say thank you to Marcello in the background. Guys, this guy is amazing. He sets everything up. He says, Steve, take pictures, take videos, and I'll take care of the rest. And that's exactly what he did. Right on cue. Love you, Marcello. You're the greatest. Even though if we put you on camera, you would make everybody fall asleep. That's why we keep you in the background. So, guys, I want to sign off from SocceriQ, guys. Ovunque sempre. Forza Milan!
Forza Milan!